and welcome to Spill the RT Quick Cuppa.
Cuppa.
I had to be careful, Josh, because last week, do you remember when we were talking about peacocks last week?
Oh yeah,
And
I
uh,
do.
and we spoke about a peacock for 2 seconds, and I made a squeal. Well, I made the squeal so loud it was almost like how dogs hear whistles. All humans can't hear it, but dogs can. And
Okay.
that came across on the podcast in the recording. I couldn't hear the squeal; it was that loud. Anyway, so that's my little anecdote today.
So wait, is your point that the dogs of the neighborhood could, and they started knocking on your door?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I had to edit it out just in case that all the millions of viewers that were watching it on YouTube, if they were listening to it on like the regular speakers and not in their ears, that you didn't want to wake up all the dogs all around the neighborhood. That was,
I don't know. I think that's a missed opportunity. I think we could have exponentially grown our audience. I
okay.
don't know. I think we should add some more subliminal kind of squeal.
Okay, I'll go into that register again at some point. You'll have to watch the entire episode before we go.
Leave it in the comments down below.
Leave it in the comments below. Yeah, baby. So,
Where is the subliminal squeal? You let us
where
know.
is the subliminal squeal? We'll have to have more discussions about peacocks in order for us to kind of potentially tempt those sort of sounds. Anywho, so as you can see in the far corner of your visual podcast, there is a new bouncy little piece of text called Quick Cuppa. So every few weeks, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a Quick Cuppa episode with Josh and I, where which we will do our usual 5 stories of the week, only we'll do them with a time limit. So we have only 4 minutes to get through each story. That's 4 minutes, Josh. 4 minutes.
Why? Why are you? This was supposed to be a fast intro.
Yeah, I know. I'm
This is now.
explaining. I'm mansplaining. Okay, I'm mansplaining. I don't know what that is really, and I don't understand how that applies to me. But anywho, we are mansplaining right now. So there's 4 minutes for each story, and then we slide right through to the next one. And we also are going to do a really cool feature that we will introduce as we go through the podcast. So stay tuned for that little sneaky little thing that we're going to do every other week. But we'll be back with a very special guest again next week. As per usual, this is just something a little juicier for us to kind of just see how we can play the field. Why are you giggling at me, Josh?
Your explanation is just wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What do you hope to expect from this new iteration of Spill the RT Quick Cuppa?
I I have quick cover. I have
Yeah.
zero expectations.
Zero. I hope those zero expectations mean that, is it when you say zero expectations, does that mean that like the expectations are low or high?
That that means I try to do everything in life with zero expectation
I
because that
suppose, yeah.
way there's no disappointment. I
So
just try to
sure.
do stuff and then whatever happens
Yeah.
happens, right?
So if you make a win, it's like, yep, hooray! We got one in the right in the back of the net. And then if
Exactly.
and then if it's a fail, it's like, oh well, let's move on.
I got tired of dreading bad things. And so I'm like, you know what? If they happen, they happen. I will still either wake up tomorrow or not.
Yeah,
How's
I
that?
think I think that's a good way to do it, and I suppose in the industry that we are in the art styling, it is probably important to have that sort of mentality. Otherwise, we'd all
I
be
have
still,
definitely I've definitely noticed people, it's not like just having a thick skin, it's just letting the no roll off of you like it wasn't even there in the first place,
mm,
right? Like
mm.
I get so many no's. We were talking about this like literally like
Last
on a
week.
daily basis. Just
Yep.
no's, no's, no's. But
No, no,
so
no, no.
what? So what? Right?
So what? So while we harp on a little bit, because we could go on like just
Well, you
forever.
could.
I could. I just spat more rubbish, and look, maybe we'll do that. Maybe that could be a new show too. However, on this iteration of Spill the RT Quick Cuppa, we are going to go straight
Cuppa,
to our Quick Cuppa
quick
for
cuppa.
our first story. And Josh, where are we going to first? Here we go. Timer
So
starting now.
this week, the 2,000-year-old Roman sun hat.
Okay, so 2,000 year
And you
old
can see what nice title.
it's my 2,000-year-old hat. Um, It is a sun
See,
hat, apparently. It looks like it's been sun kissed, that's for sure.
so okay, keep in mind this is 2,000 years old, right? And it's
Hmm.
been preserved. So originally it was found flattened, and then they very carefully unflattened it apparently to get it to
Okay.
look the way it is.
It
But
looks
it's like
like
it's
a giant skip. Do you know those skips? I don't know if you have them in the US, but they're like yellow crisps that are prawn cocktail flavor. And they kind of have that kind of shape to them, but they're that it's just a giant one of those skips that you put them in your mouth, they dissolve, they turn into nothing. It's fabulous.
no, it's just the bucket hat that
Yes.
ravers wear, right? It just looked to me like an earlier version of the bucket hat, right? Because the
Hmm.
top part there goes over your head, and then the part that comes down that looks like petals
Mm.
obviously could fold up or be bent in different ways, which is what
Oh,
that's what a bucket hat is, right? So
it's
to
like a
what I
sad
found
flower.
interesting, well, what I found interesting is, right, humans as a species haven't changed
Mm.
physically for hundreds of thousands of years, right? So the same need for the same protections from the same issues, it's always been the same. And so, like, there's a confluence of form. And if you're into design aesthetics, if you're into the kind of like trans historical kinds of things that make us human,
Mm.
something like this sun hat from 2,000 years ago, you could literally find that in REI in some like some weird spotted owl pattern kind of shit that some hipster would wear quite easily.
Absolutely. It also reminds me of the helmets that people wear in the desert. So that
Yeah,
it's kind of
that's
like, it has that sandy color, so it's camouflaged. It's like for army soldiers or whatever.
yeah.
Or a sad petal, a sad
Well,
flower.
yeah, pith helmets is what those are called, right?
Pith.
That's pith, Pith. The
Okay.
the British military is famous for wearing them in the deserts. If you've
Uh,
seen Lawrence of Arabia, right? Like that's the hat,
Arabian
but
Nights.
but
That
like
one.
the color is meant to blend in with the sand, but also reflect the sun to keep you cooler and all that kind of good jazz.
Reflect the
Yeah.
sun back.
Well, yeah, that's if you wear things that are light colored, it
Mm.
reflects that sun off you and keeps you cooler.
Oh, okay, so don't wear black.
So the hat that I wear when I was well, that I wore, I don't wear it anymore. When I was in the vineyard, is a very large, broad straw hat that looks
Okay.
basically like
We'll
that,
need
but
we'll need
bigger.
pictures of this so that we can have proof. There's lots of pictures that we're owed now at this point in Spill the RT of Josh doing silly things, but this
I,
is one that
I,
we need to see.
I've done many things over the years to pay my bills. I have no shame in any of it. But whether
That's
there's
okay.
pictures of
Bring it
it or
on.
not, I'm not going to say.
Okay, you've 30 seconds to round up this story. Give us the summary. Give us the one-liner.
Uh, the one liner here is look, human heads still need sun protection.
Okay, and my one-liner is look at this sad flower. Aww. Okay. Right, moving
There you
on.
go.
Let's go. The next story. Here we go.
So the next story actually pairs the two stories together. But we'll just talk about this part of it first. This is the Rothko studio in New
Hmm.
York, where the paintings for the Rothko Chapel, which is in Houston, Texas, for those that don't know, were painted. These are very large paintings, and Rothko did even bigger paintings than these, and so he needed a very large space.
Mm.
Said space is currently available for $9.5 million, and
Ouch.
you don't even get the whole building. You get the top part of the building where the atrium is, and you get an option in 12 years to buy the rest of the building down below, which is currently occupied by somebody else.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at those windows, imagine that natural light. Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
stunning. It's
Yeah.
probably worth that much money, to be honest. And the fact that Rothko was painting in there, it has a legacy because they've got all of that massive ceiling height, like amazing, amazing. Think of the amount of paintings you could do in there.
Well, the crazy thing is, so for those that don't know, New York City gave options to do this. That's why lofts are made by used by artists because the
Mm,
city like made them available to them because they had no other use.
mm.
And so there were hundreds and hundreds of these that have now, of course, mostly been turned into like condos and people's houses and that kind of thing.
And look,
But
there's even
the
a there's e
size and
there's
the
even a drain there for you to have a shower when you're finished painting.
Yeah, it's from I think from an artist perspective, right?
Mm,
Those of us who really want space to make things, whatever
yeah,
it is, whether it's studio, dance, whatever, you just need space and light. This is like heaven on earth, right?
it
Like you
is.
couldn't get better than this.
No.
But then when you hear the price tag of like $9.5 million, you're like, you know what? Maybe I can find someplace else.
Yeah, yeah. You could buy a private jet, fly to a space that's in the middle of nowhere, and have 10 times the size of it with all the light in the world.
Well, I know artists in the Lower East Side that still occupy the buildings they were able to purchase under this program 50
Mm,
and 60 years ago, right? Like the program's no longer around, unfortunately, but they locked in and bought buildings for $250,000. Now that was back when $250,000 was a lot of money, right?
mm,
But then if that building has become, they're not all going to be like the Rothko. They're not going to have that pedigree, but
mm.
there's still 5, 6, $7 million for a building that you bought as an artist and you just lived in and made your work in.
So this image here, is this image one of that same
That's the
space?
that's the Rothko Chapel. That's in
Ah,
Houston,
okay.
right? And so remember the atrium that was there in the studio?
Yeah.
That was, according to Rothko's son, that was the test run for what it would look like,
Ah,
right? So part of the reason he painted those there, as opposed to any other place he could have painted them, is he wanted a place that had an atrium above it so he could see how the pieces
so it
would
would
look.
look. Ah,
And so that way he's like dry fitting everything before it actually goes out the door, literally in
yeah.
this case.
That was a very expensive experiment for him, wasn't it?
Well, it's Rothko, right? I mean, at
Yeah.
that point, this is later on in his career, right? For those that are familiar with Rothko, it's more the color paintings that you're probably familiar with,
Mm,
right? Where Rothko kind of gives us the sense of what a color is. And this is much closer to the end of his life. And for those that don't know, Rothko killed himself, and his paintings just got like darker and darker in a serial kind of fashion. And I'm not saying darker in necessarily subject matter. I
mm,
mean darker in terms of literal like grayscale instead of color. And
okay.
so what you have here, this is in the late 60s, and this is like kind of an ode to stillness, an ode to silence. It's not really
Hmm.
religious, but it definitely has a sense of connecting with something greater than oneself. How's that?
Okay, very cute. Okay, so we've got this. This is the final piece, and we have this piece here, which is where he built it. So let's
Yeah.
put a summary on this. We've got your one-liner for this piece. What is it?
Look, trial run and result.
Trial one and result. Well, I'm just going to say a monochromatic photograph, what causes in black and white, for a fabulous, colorful, beautiful depth of fabulousness in the Rothko
Yeah.
Chapel. Love it. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
And keep in mind that
Mm,
that studio space, right, was $9.5 million. So as we go to the next story,
okay.
for $10 million,
Before that $9.5 million, was that today? Is that how much it is today?
that's how much it's available for today.
Okay,
Obviously, there would
cool.
be broker's fees on top of it and
Of
that kind of thing
course.
for
Agents, solicitor
so right.
fees.
So the overall to the buyer, obviously, you're probably looking at more than $10 million.
Yeah.
But
Stamp duty.
for that same $10 million, you
Hmm.
could have ready for it, bump
Go.
it a Birkin bag.
Oh, well, I mean, absolutely. Who needs a studio
So
when you can have a bag?
see, if you do well enough in the world of high tech, and you really want to say, I have established my ability to just say, fuck you all and buy what I want, this is what you buy. And that is what a Japanese gentleman did, seeing it as the apotheosis, the culmination of his life was the ability to buy an original. This is like the original Birkin bag. Dum
So you're
ba
you're essentially buying a piece of sculpture here then, because it is, it's the original design, it's the original iteration, it's a historical archive.
So here we get into, I think, one of the dividing lines between obviously the decorative arts and the textile arts and commercial arts
Mm,
and fine arts.
yeah.
I am not certain beyond collectability that this is worth a $10 million price tag. Sorry, I'll say it. I'm just not. And I'm into collectibles,
Yeah.
but the valuation to me, again, you have an entire building that has historical pedigree, right? That has an actual physical thing you can keep using,
Mm,
or a bag that you're going to keep locked under armed glass. That's just a thing. I
yeah.
just, I like I said, it's just total fuck you money. Fuck the
But then
world
I
money.
suppose, like, if you, because the Birkin bag, I suppose, is a designed item. I think, like, I mean, looking at this bag, it's something that you get in Primark a lot nicer. But look, that's another problem for another day. I would say that just similar to designers like Chanel or Yves Saint Laurent or or whoever, like, they've all had their initial designs or their initial pieces of clothing, and they've all had that they are now their legacy, and that it's their starting point, and it's part of the history of that brand. And probably, as what we hear in The Devil Wears Prada, is like that blue shirt came all the way back from a big long legacy of decisions from a lot of designers, and that was the spin factor for that.
I get the whole idea behind collectivity, behind unique pieces and that kind of thing. But
Mm.
again, would you pay $10 million for a Chanel dress?
Um, I would be for that bag, yeah. Not that I'm going to wear it myself, but yeah, absolutely 100%. Yeah.
Uh, to me, I think all this idea about how we value collectibles speaks to a
Mm.
fundamental problem in the way capitalism forces us to understand the world. I have
Yeah.
nothing against the use of excess capital to buy things that you just want, but
Mm.
given how much need there is in the world, I think that need needs to be taken care of first.
Totally. And actually, and the be all and end all is I would still prefer this studio. Like
Yeah,
it, and showing
that's
back up this
yeah,
studio in New York, I would still much prefer that studio. But then I
right.
suppose my needs are different to another person's needs, much like your needs to someone else's. As somebody who is a billionaire, they're probably not an artist. They're not going to be wanting a studio space like that.
But in classical analysis of economics, right, there's a difference between use value and exchange value.
Yes.
Exchange value is what a collectible is all about, right?
Hmm.
It's what someone's willing to pay you. And so that value can be
Hmm.
whatever. A use value ties back to the fact that the space has a use in this case, or the
Yeah.
object has a use. And the use value of a Birkin bag, as you said, for £50, you can get a bag that looks just like it at
Nicer.
any other kind of knockoff store in any country that you go to,
Yeah.
right? So, but that atrium, that space,
Yeah.
in the Upper West Side in New York City,
It's yummy.
it's the use, the
Yeah.
life. I'm sorry, it's just that there's no
Yeah.
comparison.
It's yummy. Okay. Give us your summary.
People be crazy.
People be crazy. That shit cray, babe. That shit cray. That Birkin bag, it cray.
I don't. I have no other words for that.
If you
I
have $10
just.
million to spend the bag, then you definitely probably have $10 million to slay that bag in that other
I,
space. So, okay, right. Time to put a spotlight on a random artist from the interweb that we have come across. So we
yes.
will scour our friends and followers across our social channels, and we'll do a big
I did a very low tech digital effect there.
love it, love it, love it, love it. I'll add those sound effects to the post production designs that I'll put in the overlay here that you will all see on the visual podcast over on YouTube
Big
if you're
money
listening.
here. Big
Yes.
money
Here
here.
we go. We ready? It's Peter Lovelock, and this is an image that we have borrowed and are sharing with you, the world, and hopefully without any need for copyright breach. We're just sharing and hopefully influencing the world with your artwork. We found this really cool, and we thought this was very exciting to share on our first Spill the RT Quick Cuppa. So you can
Cuppa.
you can find Peter Lovelock at Peter Lovelock Artist on the gram. So tell us, Josh, what do you think of this?
Well, I like this. This guy's a photographer, does very interesting
Mm.
kind of work. This is what's called an ammonite, right? This is some kind of sea creature that's growing, and you're seeing the stages of growth. And what
Cool.
caught my eye about this was like the use of the red and the blues.
Mm.
It caught anytime using red and blue, because of the way our eyes read those colors, it creates a push pull effect. That's the
Mm.
key to painting in 3D, for
Yeah.
example. And so this really just kind of caught my eye. And we know nothing about this guy. This has nothing to do. Like, no one's paying us for this. This is just an artist whose work caught our eye, and we thought, hey, why not give a shout out?
Absolutely. I hear what you're saying about that push-pull thing. It's kind of when you look at something that's overly saturated, where it's like a really harsh blue and a really harsh red together, and you can kind of feel how your eyes kind of have to work for it.
Yeah,
But I think in this context, I think what's really grounding it for me is that white line that's going through it. That's
sure.
kind of putting in that symmetry, which is really beautiful. But also kind of has that kind of the vein like or the vascular. Is that the right word to use
Hmm.
here?
Sure.
That I think is quite cool. And also the light. What I love about this is the light. There's like such clear light that's coming through. It has. I can see why you would like this painting or this artwork because I'm looking for to know the thing that you do. You use it with your fluorescent painting. The
Oh, the
iridescence.
iridescence. Iridescence.
Iridescence, iridescence, iridescence.
Gotcha.
Amazing. See,
Yeah.
I've had a minor heart attack in trying to get that word out, but I've managed to get there. Um, but yeah,
What I,
love this artwork, and guys, follow him at Peter Love Lock Artist.
Yeah, and I would just say it works because I paint some styles that have this kind of circular, not necessarily this directly circular kind of style, but stuff that has that kind of stepping to it where it gets smaller. When you're able to reinforce it using
Mm,
colors, it really does feel like it's kind of jumping out at you,
yeah,
right? Like if you look
definitely.
to the bottom left, it really does feel like it's spiraling out like a 1980s 3D film.
Mm,
And that's an optical effect, right? It's obviously not really doing that, but because your eye can't help but perceive it that way, it feels organic and alive. And
mm.
I mean, that's the beauty of being able to capture stuff using color.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's another kind of thing. See, this painting is just giving. It's like it has that kaleidoscope effect, you
Yeah.
know, of that the kind of the completely endless vision, the tunnel vision
Yeah.
point of view that you have. And I really like that kind of that yellowy greeny colors that are on the right hand side as well. I think that at the right of this screen anyway. But yeah, cool, good
Well,
work, Peter.
one of the keys to landscape painting is what's called the infinite horizon, right? And
Mm,
so, what you look into the center, what you're getting is that infinite spiral down. And it's just our eyes can't help. We're
mm,
drawn to it, right? Like because of how we are designed by nature to go
yeah.
looking for the ends of things, the edges of things. What are the boundaries?
Mm,
And that's I used to talk about like the key thing that I was always interested in was just the line. What does line do for the eye?
mm,
Line gives shape and form to everything.
absolutely.
So that's just it's you can use that and manipulate it in different ways.
100%, and I think that's something that I often found when people are kind of starting to draw for the first time, or are trying to kind of take away that barrier of I'm not able to draw or not able to kind of to come up with something. If you just start scribbling with a line and making scribbles out of something just with one
Yep,
pencil or a crane or whatever, you're forming structure, you're forming space, you're forming dimension, and I think if you can separate that out and shade inside or shade outside, you can find how that dimension just completely
yep,
evolves.
100%.
And yeah, that line is you're absolutely correct. I love that. I love that theory.
Well, I have a series called Pebbles that are nothing but like splotches of paint, and then
Mm,
I come in and draw with a very fine acrylic marker a line, and
mm,
it's the line that creates the pebble. Until then, it's just splotches of paint, and then
yeah,
once you realize, oh, it's having these like they look like pebbles, you
yeah.
can't not see it. That's what it's
No,
like one of those
absolutely.
3D. Once you see it, you can't not. Your brain is designed for patterns, and so you
It's
can play with that if you're doing optical kind of work. It's
that's
fun.
that's kind of interesting as well how you say that because as soon as you mention the word pebble or put the word pebble beside it, you start to then try to find
Exactly.
that, which is
Right.
just something. Then it's like, okay, if I didn't say the word pebble, what else could somebody else find
Right.
from it?
Right. And so then there's this connection between the line in terms of drawing closure and the use of language in terms of closing down interpretation.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. And that's why many abstract people avoid giving titles to their pieces or just number them in some fashion,
Hmm.
precisely because they don't want to contaminate exposure to for the audience, right? Like they
Yeah.
want them to have their own take on it.
Hmm. For those of you who are kind of fresh to looking at Spill the RT Quick Cuppa, and also for those of you
Look
who
up
are
a
kind of just interested in art or not interested in art or not kind of part of that, just see what we've kind of taken from this. We don't know Peter Lovelock and we do not have any association with him, but we've found this really cool image and we've literally just spoke about it for like 5 minutes, and it has created and sparked a conversation. The power of art, guys, the power of
and
art.
we've used very no big words because
No big
Damon has
words.
difficulty. He has
I have
trouble
big
saying them.
words. I have big word syndrome. I have big word syndrome. I can't say the word syndrome.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly.
Moving
Okay.
swiftly,
Okay.
supposedly.
Right. Into story number 4 of the week. Where are we going to?
So this is actually Kentucky, I guess.
Kentucky
So
Fried Chicken?
this was a mural that was done by an artist who unfortunately died during the AIDS epidemic, right? Many artists ended up with HIV and then dying from AIDS back in the 80s. So he was at the time apparently a very well-known artist. They covered up the mural for whatever reason. The mural was done on brick. They covered it up The art space then, of course, as these things do, changed hands as we're talking about, right? Someone
Mm.
decided we're going to use this space for something else. In this case, we're going to use it for a gym. So they uncovered the mural, realized it was there, and were like, well, we didn't think we were going to have a mural. And so they covered it back up. And so it's less, to me, it was less about this particular artist, less about the artwork of the mural or anything, and more about how does a developer think? If I have a building and I find something that actually is of cultural significance, and I know that if I destroy it, I'll get a ton of shit for it. But if I just kind of tuck it back away again, and they say,
Hmm.
well, we're not damaging it, we're keeping it from being damaged. You're just setting it back the way it's been for the last 40 years.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I
that's why I thought that's kind of bizarre to me
Before I
when you're
respond to that, the one thing that's kind of really completely not it has sidetracked me a little bit is the earth in the center, top center. And
Mhm.
it's because it's red and blue, and it's we're talking about the saturation already today, and I'm finding that really difficult to look at. Um, but yes, I think it's really interesting that, like, is it how did they recover it again, or did they recover it again in the end? What was the kind of the
So
result?
so this is on brick, right? So what
Mm.
had done is they put a facade in front of it with an
Uh,
air gap,
uh-huh.
right? So just put up
Just like
drywall,
plasterboard or something.
but with an air
Mm.
gap so it won't damage the paint or anything. And they say that's basically what they did. They just replaced the wallboard they took off with new wallboard, same air gap, not exposed to light or water or anything, and it'll
And
be
anything
fine.
that's kind of protecting it and preserving it for
And they
longer.
said well, we didn't feel like it was appropriate for the gym, and fair play, maybe it doesn't fit into their aesthetics, I don't know, right? But
Hmm.
the point is they had bought this building, they hadn't anticipated there being this piece of historical significance that in the building, right? They found it. They didn't
Mm.
want to destroy it, more power to them, but at the same time they're like, "No, we don't really want to get into this. We'll just cover this back up." And then it's someone else's problem in the future. Really,
Yeah.
that's so they're not really preserving it, right? They're just like passing the buck forward.
But I think if I was doing some bench pressing in there now and I wanted to kind of look at that, what potentially looks like snails going into the ground or something, I just feel like they might have gonna be crawling up my shorts or something, and I don't want that.
It's a piece. The mural makes more sense in other shots, but it's a piece that's definitely from the 80s, right? It's about
It's very
coming
comic book.
catastrophe. Well, it's about coming catastrophe. It also ties in with street art styles from the
Mm,
80s. Murals then had a much looser kind of style than many murals do today. It's an evolutionary stage, right? As
mm,
many things that are of art historical significance, they might not be what we would want to make or see today per se, but they're a mark on the road of what things were. And
mm,
certainly for an entire generation of artists who died before they really got a chance to make as much as they could have, right? Herring, of course, is the one that people think of, but there were many, many other artists from the same time in every creative field. So we only have their earlier works, right?
mm.
And so it's also this issue of, well, if you don't preserve this stuff, you're literally an entire generation of creatives who died, their works die as well. And
Yeah.
then it's like I say, when we stop saying your name, that's when you're really gone. And
Oh,
so, right, like there's a lot at stake, I think, particularly within like the LGBTQ art community in the South of wanting to preserve this.
okay. Well, I mean, I think but it's great, and they are preserving it. It's just not on visual,
Well, because
like it's like
it's a developer that's preserving it, right? So it's
ah,
not
okay,
really it's more like stasis than preservation. How's
yeah.
that? I think that's probably a better way to put
I
it.
just think as well, before we spill the tea on this, I would like to say that there is a kapow missing from that left side part, where I just feel like, it has that really stark yellow red contrast thing that's just class. I love it. And it's just like you're waiting for, I don't know, Monroe kind of like a blotchy painting to come back up in front of it and say kapow,
But this guy was not Liechtenstein, so it's not that
Liechtenstein.
style, right?
Thank
It's
you.
not
That's
that
who I was
style.
thinking.
Yeah,
It's
but
not too
that's
far away
not
from Liechtenstein though,
well,
without the
because of the
dots.
use of primary colors. But other
Hmm.
than that, stylistically, I don't really see. For those who have seen it, Lichtenstein's the guy who took like comic style, comic book things and blew them up, gave them new word bubbles as part of the picture.
Mm.
Oh, Brad, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
Brad.
And right, it's very much a send up of certain kinds of
Yeah.
heteronormative styles from the 50s and the
He
60s,
had
right?
that it was like it was kind of like the the circular grid kind of thing as well. The news kind of like what's that called? The
Well, it's cyanotype
That's the
and
one, cyanotype. Yeah.
because you when you would do stuff in the funny pages, right? You
Yes.
would have your paint dots, blue
Yeah.
dots, yellow dots, pink dots, and that's what would create based on the color overlay. That's what would give you your colors. And so
Yeah.
he just kind of took that and applied it then in this
To the
kind of
aesthetic.
sardonic
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I guess it's almost like kind of out of a soap opera, much of it,
Mm.
right? It's like the language of domesticity combined with the language of comics meant to be like poking fun at society at the same
Yeah.
time.
But that
And not,
cyanotype, I feel like, every time you want to think about maybe creating or designing something with that aesthetic or with that kind of theme, you just feel like, okay, well, like this has been done. But at the same time, it's just like, but it's cool. I love it.
well, it's how you do it. So what I've seen people do today is rather than using the same color schemes, they use the
Mm,
cyanotype process, but
yeah.
they're using different color fields.
Yeah.
So you get the same effect, but it's also very different because it's not the primary colors from the funny
Mm,
pages,
mm.
right?
This
And
has
so
been a
then
very arty episode. I'm loving
well,
it.
and then we end up in a more Joseph Albers kind of territory about how colors interact with each other, and not
Mm.
just the red and blue in terms of push pull, but anyone who's seen any of Albers' square skull paintings, that's like a square inside a square inside a square. The whole point is the way the colors play off each other,
Okay.
a la Rothko, really.
Mm.
It's all a circle, all of a piece today, apparently.
Well, Kentucky has been fried, so you need to tell us what is your one-line summoner.
So the last place, oh, so
Mm.
reburied again, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, sad face. Okay, so off we go.
I'm a street artist. I like art out in the world, not
You're
hidden
every
up.
kind
You
of
know,
artist. Every week you've got a new type
I'm
of art.
I'm everything to everybody.
Uh-huh. Aren't we
I'm
all?
every woman.
It's all I need. Okay,
See?
and off we go to story number 5.
So this last one just made me laugh because there's a history of doing things with robots in the underground in the San Francisco Bay Area, and now they have them fighting in a cage. And then subsequent to this, I found out the Chinese just had the first robot international games, right? Like a robot Olympics. So San Francisco got there first in their inimitable fashion of, well, have them beat each other up. And back in the day, there was a group that was called Survival Research Labs, I believe is what it was called. And they used to have like robots that would fight each other with flames and chainsaws and all kinds of shit long
I
before
remember
Robot
those Robo
War.
Wars.
This was, but even before that, this was an art project back in the 70s and 80s in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it was just crazy shit. I saw a couple of the last ones they did in the late 80s. It was insane. This
Yeah,
is tame. This is inside a cage. They're wearing boxing gloves and shit. There's a human referee.
this is
This is
outrageous.
completely tame. And
This
what's
is
funny is everyone's
outrageous.
just sitting there and drinking and watching it happen. It's just
But
so
like,
Bay
this
Area.
is not entertaining. This is not entertaining. This is outrageous. It's kind of like,
Why?
I think this is ridiculous. It's kind of like when I was watching The Simpsons or Family Guy or whatever in on Sky One when I was like 7 or 8, and on a Saturday night, and I'm really enjoying my life, and then the fucking Robot Wars comes on, and I'm like, I don't want to watch two robots go at each other. It doesn't
Why
make
not?
I don't find it entertaining. I just find it like this is just not entertaining for me.
Did you ever see a demolition derby? Do you know what that is?
I have, yes. I that
Right?
that does not entertain me either.
Oh my goodness. Monster
No.
truck.
Yeah, when
Grr, grr.
people die in those.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
point.
Oh, what are you in? Like, are you Henry Tudor?
I'm
Off you
I'm an
go. Kill
American.
each other. Oh,
I'm an American.
oh dear.
80,000 of us die on the highway every year. We have a bloodlust in our culture, unlike most other cultures of any time and place. Robots killing each other is fantastic. It's glorious.
I'm not
It's
here for it. I'm not
you,
here for it. I'm like,
you know what the
why?
term,
Why the violence?
you know what the negative term for a robot is now? A clanker.
A clanker. Well, those
Clanker.
clankers be clanking too much. I'm
That's
done with their clanking.
and apparently people are worried that our future overlords, because they're
The
going to say
AI
that the
people.
clanker is like it's like the C word. It's now instead you can't say the N word, you can't use this word, you can't use that word. So if you use the word clanker and that future sees you using the word clanker, they're going to come and punish your ass.
Oh dear.
Clanker, clanker, clanker.
I don't want anybody to be doing that. Anywho, well, Give us a summary. Give us a summary. Give us a summary.
Burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby, burn. Clank, baby, clank. Okay, well, that's that story spilled, and we are back to base camp. There you go. There's our quick cuppa. How cool was that?
Quackuppa,
Quick cuppa.
quackuppa,
Quick cuppa. So,
quackuppa,
in Ireland, if you go into someone's house and they ask you for a cup of tea, what do you say, Josh?
quackuppa,
Quick cuppa. We'll have a quick cuppa. Sure, we'll have a quick one.
quackuppa.
I know, you're fine, you're fine. I know, but sure, we'll have a quick one. We'll have a quick cuppa. So we're gonna have our quick cuppa every month, once a month, right here on Spill the RT on
Eamon, it's now
Thursdays.
decided. Eamon has now decided. Once a month, we're doing this.
We're doing this once a month, once a month. So next week we've got a very special guest coming up once again. We also have you to like, share, subscribe. Isn't that right, Josh? How did they do it?
Yeah, I guess, leave a comment,
Yeah.
some kind of thing like that. Hit the
If you
bell.
liked this episode, do give us a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
leave a comment. If you found this format different and interesting, let us know.
Yeah. We're
And
just ironing out the edges. So there's a few creases, but we'll iron them out.
leave a list of words you'd like to hear Eamon mispronounce.
I don't think I liked that sort of game, but sure, if it brings in the followers, why not? Bring it on, bring it on. And also, folks out there, if you want to be a guest, number one, give us an L buzz at hello@neuralcollective.com while Josh is catching his breath there. Or if you'd just like to submit an art piece for us to have a look at and share with all of our viewers, you can do that too. And that piece will be shared across the social channels in a little excerpt as well. So feel free to share your beautiful arts with us, and we will only punch up, we won't punch down.
But for those watching this, rewind 10 seconds, look at Eamon's face again. Just enjoy that moment.
I don't know what face I pulled, but surely I pulled it. Okay, all right. I pulled a face. I pull faces. Look, this is how it is.
Chef's kiss.
Moi, moi. Okay, thank you for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure, Josh, as always. We'll be right back next Thursday, spilling the RT, and we'll be back here with our quick cuppa in 3 more weeks' time. So,
Pick
until
up!
then, bye. Go have a quick cuppa. To a bit.